what's really happening between Iran and the US? Today, we're talking about a conflict that hasn't just shaken the Middle East. It's sending shockwaves across the entire world. Iran and the United States, two countries with a long history of hostility. This tension didn't start yesterday. But now things have reached a point where it's not just political threats anymore. It's not just speeches. Because now, missiles are flying, explosions are speaking louder than words, and the region is standing dangerously close to all-out war. So the big question is, why is this happening? Why are Iran and the United States on the brink of war? Is this just another political standoff? Is it only about Iran's nuclear ambitions? Or is there something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Because when you look closer, this isn't just about one issue. This is about power. It's about oil. It's about control. And it's about who gets to shape the future of the Middle East. If we really want to understand this conflict, we can't just focus on what's happening right now. We have to go back and look at where this hostility comes from. The truth is, Iran and the US have been at odds for decades. Both sides see each other as a threat. The United States wants to protect its influence in the Middle East, defend its allies, keep global oil moving, and make sure major shipping routes stay secure. Iran, on the other hand, sees itself as a major power in the region. It doesn't want to be pushed around. It doesn't want foreign powers deciding its future. And it wants to show the world that it cannot be easily controlled. That clash of interest has been building for years. Tension turned into mistrust. Mistrust turned into hostility. And now, that hostility is turning into open conflict. But if there's one issue at the center of all of this, it's Iran's nuclear program. The US and its allies have long feared that Iran could move its nuclear program far enough to eventually build a nuclear weapon. And if that happens, the balance of power in the Middle East could change overnight. That's where the line gets drawn. For Washington, this is a red line. For Tehran, it's a matter of sovereignty and national pride. The US says Iran has to be stopped. Iran says it has every right to continue. And when neither side is willing to back down, diplomacy starts to break apart. And the path to war gets shorter. But here's where things got even more dangerous. The conflict escalated dramatically when the rising tension between Israel and Iran pulled the United States in even deeper. At that point, this stopped being just a diplomatic crisis. It stopped being only about sanctions, warnings, and political pressure. It started looking like real war. Israel already sees Iran as a direct threat. And because the US is Israel's strongest ally, America became more deeply tied to the confrontation. Then came the strikes, then the retaliation, then more threats. And just like that, the region moved closer and closer to a much larger war. And that's why this can't be explained as just a conflict between two countries. This is a much bigger geopolitical game. A kind of high-stakes chess match, where every move has consequences. Every strike sends a message. And every response raises the risk of something even worse. Now let's talk about another major reason this conflict matters so much: oil. Because this war isn't only about missiles and military power, it's also about the global economy. The Middle East is one of the most important energy-producing regions in the world. And at the center of that energy network is one of the most critical waterways on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz. A huge percentage of the world's oil passes through that narrow stretch of water. So if war spreads there, if ships are attacked, if traffic gets blocked, the consequences won't stay in the Middle East. These consequences will hit the entire world. Gas prices could spike, markets could panic, supply chains could suffer, and ordinary people, even thousands of miles away, could feel the effects. So this is not just a military conflict, it's an economic one too, a strategic one, a battle over influence, power, and global pressure points. And then there's the factor that makes every war more dangerous than before: retaliation. One side strikes, the other side responds, then comes the counter-response. And suddenly the conflict starts expanding. It's no longer confined to one battlefield. It spreads across borders, across seas, across alliances, and into the future of an entire region. What's happening right now in the Middle East isn't just another breaking news story. It could become the beginning of something much bigger. If this escalates further, it may not remain limited to Iran and the United States. Other countries could get pulled in. Gulf nations could face pressure. Oil routes could be threatened. And the world could find itself staring down another major international crisis. But here's the part that matters most. Like every war, the people who suffer the most are often the people with the least power. Governments make decisions, leaders give orders, missiles are launched, statements are made. But who pays the price? Ordinary people. families living in fear, parents terrified for their children, young people watching their future disappear into smoke, chaos, and uncertainty. That's the harsh truth of war. It's never just lines on a map, it's human lives. So, if we had to answer the question in one sentence, why is this war between Iran and the US happening? Because it's not about just one thing. It's about Iran's nuclear program. It's about Israel's role in the conflict. It's about power in the Middle East. It's about oil and control over major shipping routes. And above all, it's about years of hostility that have been building toward a breaking point. So now the real question is no longer just, why is this war happening? The real question is, how far can it go? And if it keeps escalating, what kind of damage will it leave behind? If you think this conflict is about more than just nuclear weapons, if you think it's also about oil, power, and control of the region, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this war gets bigger from here? Or do you think the world still has a chance to stop it? If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more.